Hey y'all, hey, it's your sugar here. Thanks for chiming in. So it's past 7:30 on a Wednesday night, but listen, it's Wednesday and it's coming into the nighttime. So it's time, me and you. I'm Natalie Sugar Brown, uh, woman pugilist or woman boxer. This is my platform, my show to talk about women's boxing. I've been there, done it. I know the story. And if I don't know the story, I'll figure that mess out cuz something that I'm true to, not new to. Okay? So yes, the Natalie Sugar Brown show is where we come and meet on Wednesday nights to have a conversation about women's boxing. Yeah, just a conversation. You don't really have to know the numbers, the direct, decimals of everything, but it's a meeting to where you can ask any question, ask what you want to ask. You can give your opinion, judgmental opinion. I mean, of course, you'll hear Sugar's opinion back too, but we always keep it respectful. And I just love to hear what y'all thinking about us women out here that behave badly. So yes. Um, Tonight's show is about the most recent fight of interest, which is the Katie Taylor versus Chantelle Cameron showdown over there in Dublin, Ireland. And it was an upset, the darling Katie Taylor actually got her first L um, over the weekend. So I think she may be, I don't know, she may be struggling with that, right? You go unbeatable for years. You don't know what that feel like. And then somebody hands you that L. You got to kind of rethink what's going on with you. Okay. So, as usual, my guys here at Talkin Fight, they done put a nice little slideshow with some pictures together so you can see who I'm talking about, right? And I'm just going to start by giving the outline, the schematics on um what happened, what had happened over the weekend. Okay? All right, let's do it. All right, my lovely assistant. Mm-hmm. All right. To the left, to the left. Put that picture up in a box to the left. All right, y'all. So listen, um, these two fought. So over on your far left is the darling Katie Taylor. Okay. And then to the right, you got Chantelle Cameron. Okay, so both are champions. Both are undisputed champions in their respective weight classes. So to the far left, Michael Orr, hey baby. Hey baby. Michael Orr chimes in, hello sugar. Hey Mike, I'm always happy when you come through. So thank you. Um, and I want you to let me know what you think about this fight. Yeah, Michael Orr said, let's talk about this fight. Okay. Because to be honest, this is the only fight that I really looked at on the card. Yes, I know. But I didn't really have time, but I know I had to look at this fight, okay? So to the far left, you see Katie Taylor, who is all them belts, right? So she have all the straps, the WBA, WBC, IBF, WBO, and the ring belt, the ring magazine belt is somewhere in there too. Okay? And she's got this belt at the lightweight. She represents Ireland. She's Ireland. She's the champion, and she's the lightweight champion. So 135 pounds. Okay, and then a little over the one right next to me, my shoulder. I'm bumping my shoulder on her. Is Chantelle Cameron, and she is she's also the undisputed champ 5 pounds up at super lightweight or junior welterweight, 140 pounds. Okay, so she got the WBA, WBC, the IBF, the WBO, and the Ring magazine. So she was like, I got belts too. Right. So what had happened was in this situation, um, uh, Amanda Serrano was supposed to had spun back on Katie Taylor for a rematch for May for this May 20th fight. Yeah. Right? And I mean, Erica Cruz gave Amanda everything she wanted in the fight. Amanda came out with the win, but it looks like um, Erica Cruz left her with something. Okay, so she called out on injury. She said she was injured due to what happened, how rough that Erica Cruz fight was, and so she couldn't do this fight. And let me tell y'all, because I looked at an interview, um, a recent interview, actually the post interview post this fight, where they asked Amanda Serrano if she thinks that her fight with Katie Taylor now, will be a thing, will it be a draw? And she actually came out and said, no, she don't think so now, right? Because it was supposed to be for the pound for pound ship, and she was supposed to be about the spin back. And the whole thing about the Katie Taylor, the whole thing about the uh, Katie Taylor intrigue is everyone wanted to be the first person to give her that L, right? They wanted to bust that cherry. Yes, I said it just like that too, right? They wanted to give her that L, make her feel, you're not pristine no more. You dirty, just like the rest of us, right? So, everyone was doing it, and everyone was getting paid good money to attempt to do it too, right? So that was the big deal. So the Amanda Serrano Katie Taylor spin back was because they were saying out here that Amanda Serrano was very close uh, in beating they arguably were saying that Amanda Serrano won the fight that they had last summer at the Madison Square Garden. Um, yeah. So they were saying, oh well, it was real close. We think Amanda won it. We need a redo. We need it done again. But the universe and the boxing deities said no, we have something else in the works, and this is what it is. So Chantelle Cameron stepped up. Well, we'll put it this way: Katie Taylor, I guess, supposedly said, well, while I'm waiting on uh some, broads to step up at 135, I'm going to challenge Chantelle Cameron for her belts at 140 pounds. Since I'm pound for pound, see, I think I can take them off her. I think I can snatch them belts off that broad. So the fight was on, because then Chantelle said, oh, you want my belts? Okay, try. So this is the thing, though. And I thought it was a bad idea. Yeah, I mean, y'all look at the previous shows with Sugar. I think it was maybe three shows back, 3 or 4 shows back, where I said, I don't think it was a good idea. I didn't think it was a good idea for Chantelle to take the fight. Why? Because I know shenanigans, and I know politics and all that stuff that's going on in Uh, that goes on in boxing, especially in women's boxing. And I didn't think Chantelle was a protected fighter. I didn't think she was protected because she didn't have a real promoter. You know what I'm saying? You need a promoter in this business, so you can watch your back, so you can have your back watched. That's number one. Number two, um, I didn't think her management was all that strong, seeing as, she was out here like the rest of us, or, Suge ain't really clamoring for contracts no more, but she was, clamoring for contracts, open, talking to everybody. She didn't get to pick nothing, right? She wasn't picking nothing and saying, "Oh, you get to try, you get to try." She wasn't doing that, right? She was like, "Somebody pick me, bitch. I'll fight you. Pick me," right? And the thing about us pick me bitches, because I've been a pick me bitch out here too. The reason why we pick me broads, because we're tough, right? It's gonna be a hard fight regardless, cause we can fight, right? And it's a few pick me's out here, that Tiara Brown, Chantelle Cameron before, uh, goodness. Mike, if you paying attention, chime in. Tell me who's some fighters out here that you hear call women fighters that you hear calling, pick me, I'll fight you, and they just conveniently looking over their heads. No, no, I don't see you. I'll fight everybody else but you. You know. Um, but that, just that was off the top of my head. um the two fighters that I named, but there's a lot out here. So I didn't think Chantelle Cameron had that type of political power behind her. So her taking this challenge, putting all her belts on the line, and Katie Taylor saying, "Yeah, come fight me. But you know what? Come fight me in my backyard." Like, this is the first time, too, that Katie Taylor has ever fought in her own backyard. So I was like, huh? What? Um, this certainly doesn't look good. It doesn't look like a good challenge. Because Katie Taylor, the darling, you would have to friggin' you would have to kill her, bury her, and splash that water so she don't rise again in order to get a win from her. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's untouchable, or was. Um, Pursoon was the first broad that beat her, right? And then they came and said Serrano beat her, which, I think it was close, but I think Pursoon was the one that beat her the first time. And then there was just many attempts that she just got by the hair on her. You know what I'm saying? Like, she just made it. She just inched it, and it was like, yes, she won. She did just enough. Okay. So, yeah, it didn't look good. I didn't think it looked good. But Chantelle, I guess they knew what was in the works. And I guess the bigger picture needed to be painted, because now I see it. Now I see it. I can see clearly now. They finna make some money. Okay? Yeah. So Katie Taylor is a crone now. This year she will be a crone. A crone is a broad that has aged in the boxing industry, and now she's in her 30s. Okay, so I do believe Katie Taylor has hit croneship. She's not in early 30s, she's in mid 30s or approaching. So um the money finna start running out, because as you know, as a fighter ages, the amount of years or times or goes in the ring decreases, right? Because number one, marketing wise, everybody is used to the same old story, right? So we want something different. Number two, there's only but so much rounds in the human body before your performance starts to decline. Okay, so it was getting around that time, and plus I don't know about Katie, but she may want to step off the rails and live a little of this life out here. Most of her life has been boxing, and the life of a boxer, especially a woman boxer, is um how can I say this without um we have to be more careful. Well, I'll just put it that way, right? Because um, life things affect us more so than our male counterparts or our male peers in boxing, right? If we want to start a family, if we want to have relationships, if we want to do those things, uh, we it takes more of us. It takes more out of us to do that than our male counterparts. Okay, so our male peers. That being said, I'm going to keep it going. Okay, so Chantelle took the fight. All right, it seems short notice too, but seems like our girl Chantelle, and I said this before. I've been she's on my list of fighters that I actually really I like her. I like Chantelle Cameron. She's a no nonsense broad, and she stays ready. I believe she's in her early 30s, but she stays ready. So she's about to peak. She's approaching, or she's peaking now. She's starting her peak now. So this is great. Um, where this fight is over here on U.S. soil, because Suge right now is in the West, right on in the U.S., not in Canada. Um, there wasn't much hype here about this fight. People weren't excited about it. People weren't talking about it. I don't know about the UK and Ireland, but I suppose seeing that Katie Taylor is from Ireland, and this was the one of the biggest fights in Ireland in a very long time, maybe decades, and Chantelle Cameron now is from the UK. I'm sure there was some hype there. We got the pound for pound undisputed Katie Taylor fighting uh, a UK, uh, a woman from UK. So I'm sure that was that was the talk. That was the big thing. Okay, so I was interested in, where this thing was going to go down. I always call it the hotel where we finna get freaky, right? The the venue that the fight's gonna happen at. Okay, so it happened at the Arena, and this is located at Point Village in the North Wall area of Dublin, Ireland. So from what I see, this is like this is kind of like when you go to New York, New York City, and it. I suppose it's their version of the big city where Madison Square Garden is. All the entertainment, everything big happens down um, in this. North Wall area in Dublin, Ireland. Okay, so this is a big thing, big investment, big money. They were expecting to pull some good stuff. Okay, excuse me, it's stuffy around here. Um, so this three arena fills to about the capacity is about 13,000 seats or people, um, and which compared to the Madison Square Garden venue of 19,500, it's a couple, it's about 50, something like maybe 55, 5,500 less capacity than Madison Square Garden. But it's good enough for Dublin and bringing some noise out there. It's a concert hall. Everything big happens there. So this was a big deal for Katie because she drew that. And it's big for women's boxing because we never used to ever used to be headliners for such large venues, and now look at us, look at what we doing, look at we, right? So um I think as for women's boxing, I think this was good for women's boxing. It shows now other other female boxers, other women boxers coming out of Ireland that there is a place that they can bring money to. There's a now these venues are opening up to hosting platforms for us to behave badly where everybody and a whole bunch of people can see, which is good. That brings money to our industry, and it brings a bit of clout to women's boxing. So that's good on us. The tickets sold between 80 euros right on up to 1,500 euros. Okay. So 80 euros is about $86.01, like today's value in US dollars, okay? And right on up to 1,500 euros. So that would be about 1,612, uh, 1,613 US dollars roughly. So I don't know. For a seat, I don't care if it's ring. I don't care if it's ring. So I don't know about if I'm gonna pay that much money to 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 watch a woman's boxing match, 2 minute, 10 2-minute rounds for damn near half somebody's mortgage. I'm not going to or somebody's whole mortgage. I'm not going to do that, right? But I appreciate the gesture. I'm happy that they had the nerve, to ask for up to 1,500 euros for this fight, for this headline, for this show. Um, Now let's get down to the fight, the actual fight. And Mike, I mean, if you hear, chime in. All right. Lovely assistant. Well, we're not going to change the pictures yet, okay? But what I think about the fight, I watched the fight. I like to watch these fights with no sound because the commentators, I mean, ugh, seriously, the commentator, they need to do something about these commentators for the women's boxing matches. No. Um, but what I saw is I did see where I think Katie Taylor did win the fight. If we're talking about fighting, I think she did win the fight. She ran her hands on Chantelle. She was connecting with her usual speedy combinations. For once, she stood and fought instead of running the whole time. So she knew that she needed to step to Cameron. Uh, if she wanted to take these titles off of her, right? So she was trying. She was actually trying to fight in this fight, and you know, what I noticed, a lot of these times is, um, or for the most part, is the fights that actually, these seated, or these fighters that you know are gifted all the time. The fights that they actually win are the fights that they end up losing. It's just so funny to me. Um, so this fight, I watched it, and I actually gave Katie this fight. Um, the thing about this fight, though, is if it were at Katie Taylor's weight class, if it was at lightweight, 135, I think that, Katie would have won, because it's her realm. She paying the money to the bodies for this weight class. She's paying for these 135 belts. So, um, they'll give it to her. But seeing as she's stepping up and out, I think that the WBC and all of them sanctioning bodies are thinking, you know what, Katie, you done topped out, meaning you're already paying buku bucks to keep our belts at 135. And so, business wise, money wise, decision wise, if we let you have these 140 belts, we're not going to get the maximum amount for you having all 8 of these belts. You can't be, um, well, I think because from the belts and bodies, um, from the belts and bodies video or episode that I did, from what I understand, you have to vacate your title in one weight division to go to another weight division and challenge uh, the champion for their titles. I I I know that's it. In fact, I know, right? You got to vacate the challenge, right? So I'm not sure if the WBC said, you know what, we need new blood. We need somebody that can pull some money in while you down there at 135, Katie Taylor. We need somebody else that may have that staying power, that may have that marketing pull that you have, to make us some money with these belts at 140 pounds. I think that was the decision, the business decision that these sanctioning bodies made. And I think at this point, when this fight was made, it was Chantelle's opportunity to, negotiate, and to get backers, and to get money, and people's them, to say, yeah, we'll pay the bill, we'll pay the money for her to hold these belts. Not only, like I said, is she a marketable contender, but she's made her own way to this undisputed titleship. I don't see where Chantelle Cameron was given anything. She did fight her way to the top. She did make her own skid row, and we're going to go over that further down in the show. Um, the thing about this, though, and the happy ending, where I said, um, Katie Taylor versus Chantelle Cameron win-win, is because they both win in this situation, right? Um, Katie Taylor may still be the champion at 135. If we in boxing and in women's boxing don't press the rule of if you're moving up to challenge somebody for their belts, you have to vacate yours. Okay? That's a rule. But we want to see how they play it, right? Is Katie Taylor still the champion the undisputed champion at 135? Sorry, at 135 pounds? Let's see, because I want to know what the verdict is on that. That's number one. Number two, um, Chantelle Cameron is now undisputed champion. So they're both still champion. Okay. Um, the only thing that was given up is, or switched, is this pound for pound crown. Okay. So now Chantelle Cameron beat the pound for pound, right? I mean, there are I believe that Clarissa Shields is actually the pound for pound best woman boxer in women's boxing right now. Not the GWAT. I don't think she's the GWAT, but I think pound for pound she's the best. Meaning that if she was in any of the other weights, she would, her style, her the way she fights, her style, her power, her durability, she would still be able to hang and beat the contenders, the top champions and the contenders. She's proven it from heavyweight down to where she is now, middleweight, and I would say from middleweight down. I would say that, pound for pound. But they giving it to Katie Taylor, right? They love the Speedy Gonzalez track star slash boxer style. So she's the count. She's the pound for pound. Okay, so somebody comes in, Tony Issue. Okay, it says Canelo kept his belts at 168 after Bivol beat him at 175. Well, ain't that a bitch? Like, seriously, look it up, y'all. In order, now I'm sorry. I have not kept up with that. I did see the fight, the Canelo Bivol fight, and Bivol uh dealt with Canelo like he was a kindergartner trying to fight him in there. Yeah, he was just too big, and he was big, and he knew how to fight. So he did beat up Canelo. But what was he already the champion at 168? Did he already have a belt or the belts at 168, or were they both fighting for one for the for wait, Canelo kept his belt. I'm sorry, were they both was Bivol um a champion at 175 when Canelo went and fought him? That's the question I have, Tony Issue. And thank you for chiming in, baby. It feels good when you guys drop your little jewels. Let me know, right? But from what I mean, I excuse me, I read, I read up on it, and from what I understood in boxing, in order, if you are a champion at one weight division, okay, and you want to challenge another champion at another weight division, you have to um you gotta relinquish your titles, you gotta relinquish your belts, so you can move up or move down for that titleship. You can't, they won't allow that. So I don't know. Like, Canelo's had his belts and stuff for a while. Tony Issue comes in and says, yes, Bivol was champ at 175, and Canelo was undisputed at 168 when they fought. Now, I don't know if they done changed the rules, Tony. But that's not that ain't how it's supposed to go. Um, like I said, you're supposed to relinquish your belt. So some people then the sanctioning bodies, they playing games now, like they really playing about this money thing. I guess if you have the money to keep your if you have the money to keep the belts at your, at the weight that you were, they'll allow you to jump off, step off the rails and go try and get beat, and then come back down and be the champ at the other weight, I guess. Um, but I mean, that's kind of, it's just, that's unsavory. It is. It is. Because if you, I mean, this is the thing. From what I understood, or what I know from boxing, especially back in the day, I'm an old lady, right? But if you are a champion for another sanctioning body, and you're fighting a champion for another sanctioning body, y'all fight, okay? Then it can be, there can be, so if you were the WBC 175, let's say, use these numbers, 175-pound WBC, and you go and fight somebody for the 168 WBO title, then, if you get beat by them, you can come back and you can still be the champion at your weight. But if you're moving up in the same weight division, right? These broads here are fighting for the same belts in different weight classes, right? So Katie Taylor is fighting for Chantelle Cameron. Katie Taylor, who is the WBC champion at 135 pounds, is challenging Chantelle Cameron for her WBC 140-pound title and belt. So in order to make that jump, if you're within the same belt body, you have to relinquish your title to go from one weight to the next. That's what I understood. But if Katie, they weren't undisputed, right? And Katie Taylor was the, like I said, WBO champion at 135, and she's challenging Chantelle Cameron for her 140-pound WBC belt, right? WBO, two different sanctioning bodies. So they won't, there's no symmetry there, right? So she can bump back to where she was, and Cameron, the same thing, right? It's, it, it's just what I did some studying, y'all, and so I don't understand how this is happening now. But we'll see, because two, McCaskill, because she was getting them 147 hands laid on her ass, and it don't feel, it's not feeling, like she can deal with it. She wanted to move down and get the 140 belts, where Chantelle Cameron was like, nah, no, bitch, I got these, right? Take your ass back up the 147 and go on, handle your business. Gone now, gone, right? She sent her ass on her way. So I'm waiting. A lot of us are waiting for the verdict on whether McCaskill is still 147 champ, undisputed, or not, right? So this decision here, if this works out, I guess it'll work out for McCaskill, where she she'll get to hold on to the 147 belts too. We'll see. Let's see. Let's see what these shenanigans pan out to be. Michael Orr chimes in and says they fought for the WBA Super World Light Heavyweight title. So I suppose, was the WBA title vacant and up for grabs? Right? So what, or were they both trying to fight to get that title? Or did one have the title and the other was defending it? That's what I want to know, you guys. Thanks, Mike, for chiming in on that. And thank you, Tony, for following up on my question. Um, but this is great. This conversation is great because everyone else chiming in. Now we can get some questions answered, and this information, a lot of we can be smarter in how this thing is going, right? Because this belt situation, belts and bodies, I mean, it's really all about who can make the belt the most money. It's not about who's the best. It's about who's bringing the belts, who can pay the most to keep these belts. That's what it is, with this belt situation. Um, and me as a fighter coming up, I wasn't big, and I should have been. I should have been, but I wasn't big on getting belts. Um, I should have had my management, which Sugar is loyal to the truth, so I'm gonna tell you the truth too about me, right? I was a fighter and fight minded, not business minded, until the very, very end, right? But I was about fighting the best because I wanted to be the best. And I didn't realize, because the belts weren't really that big at the time in women's boxing. I didn't realize that it's coming the time that, these belts actually mean something. So, that part, you know what I'm saying? But if I had to do it all over again, Sugar, I'd probably buy a belt or two. Um, so Michael Orr comes in and says Bivol was defending the title. So Bivol was defending his title, his WBA title at 175. And Canelo came down to challenge him, and he got beat and turned around. Canelo turned around and was able to go back down to, or go back up to where his weight, where he has his belts, and still be champ. Money talk and bullshit. There we go. And because that's some bullshit. That's some bull, right? Um, there are other contenders, right? So if you decide to leave the weight, if you decide to challenge a bigger dog, then leave the crown where it's at. And I suppose Canelo must have had the WBA belt because he's undisputed at 168. So yeah, it is what it is. Um, but back to these broads here. Um, so yeah, like I said, boxing wise, I think Katie won. But when you were a champ, you got to beat the champ concisively, right? And she moved up to try to beat Chantelle for the 140-pound title. She ain't beat no Chantelle. Chantelle was right in front of her. She stood in front of her the whole time, like, bitch, what you got? Well, you got it over here. Okay, I'll take it and I'll give it. We want to do it over here. Okay, bitch, I'll take it and I'll give it. Right? I'll give you back. So there was no point in the fight where, you know, Katie Taylor made Chantelle take 2 steps back or take a step back. And there was no point in the fight where Chantelle looked like Katie had her in trouble. Nothing like that. So, yeah, Chantel's the champ. And she also proved that, Katie Taylor, even at 140, you know, Katie Taylor ain't doing nothing. She ain't scary at no 140 pounds. She might, and that for damn sure don't make her pound for pound, right? Because if you scary, or if you a champ at 135, you get a chance to go to another weight. You supposed to be scary at that weight too, which really validates why I said Clarissa Shields is actually the pound for pound uh, women's boxer, best women's boxer right now, because Clarissa Shields fought as high as, I don't think she fought heavyweight, but she fought Hammer, who is a heavyweight. She fought from super middleweight right on down to where she is right now, and is a multi-title world champion. So she won these titles in these different weight classes. So I think she's the middleweight and super middleweight. Um, yeah, middleweight and super middleweight champion right now. Yeah, because Natasha Jonas is the junior middleweight champion right now, undisputed. And they were supposed to come together for a fight, and the money wasn't looking right. Jonas said, "Nah, y'all, because I'm gonna take a little sippy sip of what I got here. Y'all know sugar. Mm, I'm sorry. Ain't no spirits in this. This juice. It's water juice. Um, but what was I saying? Yeah. They couldn't negotiate the fight. Natasha Jonas was like, Clarissa, you the big money. You bringing in the paper. So guess what? I need the paper if you want me to fight you, and vice versa, right? Because Natasha Jonas is sitting there like, I don't need none of y'all bitches. I'm making money. I got these belts, and I got people's damn here to make sure they paying for these belts. But sooner or later, Natasha, she gonna have to fight somebody to make them belts, make the money to keep those belts make sense. We'll see. We'll see how this thing pans out. Um, and it looks like Eddie Earn went and added Chantelle Cameron to his roster, right? Because he not going to lose the belts to somebody who's not signed under his stable. So I'm thinking now that Chantelle is signed with Eddie Hearn, and he's the biggest winner in the whole thing, right? He walks away with both the bags. He's the promoter. Um, so he's making money regardless. Anyway, Chantelle went and got this pot bubbling now. Yeah, because she stripped the pound for pound princess, or pound for pound queen, right? And now Chantelle Cameron, if you look at her Skid Row, she has the potential to fight the junior middleweight champion or contenders. And I think she can even go right on up to middleweight and possibly super middleweight, right? She came off at first, like if you look at her pictures when she first started, her body she was little, and she didn't really have much meat on her like that, scary meat, the strong muscles. But when you get money, you can get better drugs. And I'm not saying that these are PEDs. what I'm saying is you can get better supplements, you can get better recovery, better food, you can get better dietitian, you can get a lot of these things that will allow you now to be stronger if you decide to gain some weight and put the pressure on, or really invest in becoming a more powerful fighter. um, Michael Orr comes in and says the WBC says it will support Saul Canelo Alvarez if he opts to return to super middleweight to defend his status as the division's undisputed champion. Michael Orr comes in again and says WBO also confirmed Canelo will retain his title despite the loss to Bivol, stating that it is in the best interest of the sport, given the multiple opportunities to continue defending his super middleweight supremacy against formidable world championship level opposition. So, in layman's terms, he got the money to pay the bills for these motherfucking belts. Ain't none of y'all broke motherfuckers out there can afford to keep these belts. So it's in the best interest of boxing for him to pay for these belts, because don't nothing move but the money. And I told y'all this, like, that's what it is, right? The best don't possess the belt. It's the it's the ones who can pay the bill. Okay? Okay. Okay. So Michael Orr says political pull. And it's making it to women's boxing now, because it never used to be like that, right? The robbery or the shenanigans came from if you had a promoter or not. Now the belts are dealing with us because we had our own belts. There was one, you know what? I'm gonna do a show about the belts that women's boxing had. We had completely different belts. We didn't even fight for WBC. None of these WBO, IBF, the Ring, BC. None of them was messing with us. Right? None of us, we couldn't, we weren't in no roster to fight for these belts. But now that they see they can make some money off of women's boxing's back, now they can make a belt for us to fight for. I don't think that's fair. I really don't. I don't. I think we should have stuck with who rode with us. But those belts, and I should know them, but I can't think of them off the top of my head. I'm going to definitely dedicate a show to the sanctioning the belts that women's boxing did have back in the day, because yeah, we had our own rankings and everything, and it was solid. Like when we were ranked, I it I I was a part of that. I stayed in like the top 5, for women's boxing. And then when WBC and all of them, they came out, they had their own rankings for their own bras that were paying to keep these belts. And a lot of it were women or broads that was fighting out of South America, Mexico, all of those places, because that's where most of these belts are based out of, right? So it wasn't really that big for us up here, but now, Michael Orr comes in and says, once you challenge up a weight class, you vacate that title. Thank you, Mike. And Mike comes in and says, and the number 1 and 2 fight for that title. Hello, and let the church preach. Yes. Right? Thank you, Mike. Yeah, it's I know a little something up here. Michael Orr says Dimitri Bivol wants Canelo Alvarez's belts if he is to accept a rematch, and will move down in weight to get them. All right, well, we'll see about that. And this men's boxing, we're talking a little bit too much about this men's boxing, right? I like my men's. Trust me, I do. But this is a platform for women's boxing. Michael Orr says the Russian and his team are receptive to the lucrative rematch, but Kornilov is adamant that Bivol will only accept the second fight if it is at 168 pounds with Canelo's belts on the line. Yeah, I mean, yeah, shenanigans. Like, yeah, they finally got Spence and Crawford to fight. Shenanigans. Michael Orr says, back to the track star, Katie Taylor. Mike, that's the thing. Mike, that's why, you know what, I got a thing for you because you really be with my shits. You know what I'm saying? You you be with my my little shenanigans. Yes. Let's talk back about the track star, Katie Taylor, the darling of women's boxing. So, like I said, Chantelle got the pot bubbling now because I want to see her. Like, um, I respect her gangster. I respect her gangster. Michael Orr said the ring wasn't big enough this time, right? This was in this and this was in her backyard. Like this was on her porch. I don't know. I don't know. See, sugar got a little bit of crazy. Like I got a bit too much gangster in there, so I took it to the damn streets. I'd have body slammed her or something. Got the fight stopped and shit, and be like, nah, we gonna have to run this back. We gonna have to run this back. You ain't finna beat me in my backyard like this on points. You crazy? You gonna have to knock. I'm gonna have to be on my back. You have to slump. You know what I'm saying? You have to slump my ass. You ain't finna be who me? And I'm pound for pound, Katie Taylor. You crazy. Nah, it ain't Beagle. It can't happen like that. So, like, for me, the way it happened, you know what I'm saying? The way it happened, it's kind of like, us women, we got stories, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm gonna have some real woman talk, right? It's like when you kind of, it's this guy and you're not going to give him none. He ain't going to finna get the chicken, the kitty, but somehow, something happened, you get a little randy or something get wild and next thing you know, you and him. No, it wasn't supposed to happen. Not like this. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we women, so things happen, right? Talk the talk. Who done chimed in? Uh, Fistiana fights. Peace and blessings. Hey, how you doing? Thanks for chiming in, Fistiana. Did I say it right? Because y'all know Sugar will jam up a name. And you know what? I don't mean to. It's just, I think it's like in my DNA. I get it from Ruby. That's my grandmother. And she'll tear a damn name into shreds with love. All right. So, hey, peace and blessings to you. I said, yes, you said it correctly. Okay, thank you, boo boo. Thanks for chiming in. Tell me what you think about this. Did you watch the fight, Fistiana? Tell me what you think about it, or let me know what you think about women's boxing. Do you think if somebody, tell me something, Fistiana? Do you think, right? Say we are fighting. Say you got a diamond ring, right? And I got a diamond ring too. Okay. But if I fight you, no. You did what? And you enjoyed it. Okay. All right. So this means you know a little bit about boxing. You enjoyed it. Who did you think performed the best that night, Fistiana? Who did you think? Was it Katie or Chantelle you think fought the best? Because I don't like to say when because it's political. Who fought the best? Who do you think put the best performance? Put it down, right? Because nobody got hurt or nothing for this win to happen. And do you think, I'm going to say this again, I'm going to ask you the question again. Do you think that if a fighter goes after another fighter's belt in another weight class, that they can keep the belt that they already had in the previous weight class, or they should relinquish their belt to step up to another challenge or step down to another challenge? You tell me. Christiana says Chantelle had Katie's number. Okay. I think Chantelle fought a good fight, right? I do. I don't think she had Katie's number though, because when you have somebody's number, you dial they motherfucking ass. You know what I'm saying? You dial, you got their ass on dial, right? And Chantelle never staggered or hurt Katie. When somebody got your number, you know what I'm saying? They could hurt you. I've been in there, they could ring your bell if they got your number. And I didn't see that happen. That's why I said Katie won the fight, because Katie ran her hands, because y'all know Katie throws punches in bunches. So punch volume was, and she didn't stop Katie Taylor from running her hands, right? So all she did was she stood there and she showed how durable she was, and she was like, ho. Oh my gosh, this is a really, like, y'all, I'm sorry, like this. But this fight talk, this how we talk to each other in the ring. We are not Girl Scouts in there. Oh, it should be a mic for what we say in there to each other, because that is even more entertaining. Trust me. Fistiana Fight says, absolutely, I believe Katie should keep the belts if she isn't officially campaigning at the higher weight class. Fistiana also says, of course she would have to be active in both weight classes if she doesn't want to give up her belts. I mean, I don't think you could say, okay, hold my beer and go up to another weight class and come back and think ain't nobody going to drink up your beer. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. That's monopolizing the, it's monopolizing the rankings. When you leave your weight class, when you go fight somebody, or when you fight outside of your weight class for a title, you have to give up your seat. You got to give up your seat. You can't hold a spot to go see if I win. If I win, I got them both. If I don't, I can run back. No, if you fail, you fail. Get your ass to the end of the line, because we got somebody next and the other person after that can fight, that should fight for that title. It's not fair. Fistiana, it ain't fair. Come on. Fistiana, you know it ain't fair. But I respect your opinion. But as somebody who's I've been in it. I lived it. I've been a contender. I've been a contender waiting for an opportunity. And for me to see somebody leave the weight class and then go fail or go lose and come back and they get their spot, where, now what? Then they get to choose if they get to fight me or not. That's not fair. When you leave, and then I get a chance to step up and fight for the vacant, for the opportunity that you just left to take another opportunity. um Fisty on the Fight says there's just not enough women in boxing. I mean, if you look at some of these rankings, there are empty spots. Fistiana Fight says in men boxing it's different. Let me tell you something, Fistiana. When you look at these rankings, you're looking at that body's rankings. You're looking at that body's rankings. There's mad women in women's boxing, especially in pro women's boxing too. It's a whole bunch, a lot of us. Yeah, right? The rankings are political. I remember when I was very active and they used to be like, yo, Suge, come fight for this. Yeah, I can get you ranked. All I gotta do is call the body. We can get you ranked at this and this and this. Next thing you know, you get the belt. It's all a phone call, right? So I hate this thing. I hate this bull jive that's out here, that people feel like there are not enough women boxers. There are many of us. There are a lot of contenders licking their chops, waiting for an opportunity. It's just that, especially now, before it was, can your promoter pay for you to get a belt, right? Now it's mad money. We have a lot of, who's your promoter now? Where before, promoters, back in when Suge was fighting, you hit the lotto if you had a promoter. Like, woo, you got a promoter, you know? So now that the sanctioning bodies can make some money, unless you're buying into that sanctioning body, you're not going to get ranked, right? When you start making calls, showing up to their stuff, show being a part, then they see who you are, then you get ranked. Fistiana Fights comes in and says, now what I don't agree with is the rematch clause. I believe if Katie takes the rematch, then she should give up her belts, especially if she plans on defending the higher weight belts. Now, this rematch clause done got popular, right? It started getting popular. I remember my advisor when I started getting smart after I knocked Jessica Camara out. Well, when I was in negotiation to fight Jessica Camara, because she was like the next, she was up next. Everybody just thought she was going to be the jam, but I jammed her ass up. So, and the reason why I mean, there's some bad blood outside the ring with this broad too, right? But going into the fight, I didn't get paid, right? I basically fought the bitch for a cheeseburger. I did. My peoples paid for they didn't even pay for me to the promoter, it was her people that sent me the challenge, and I took it. The promoter was on her side, everybody was on her side, and I had my misfits, the people that love me, my fans. They put together, they made sure Suge stayed in a better hotel, a nicer place than she did. They showed that they still believed in me. And so what I did was I countered her challenge, and I said, okay, yeah, I'll fight you. And yeah, I'll fight you for this peanuts, for this cheeseburger. But if I win, or if and it what does it, yeah, because I wanted to fight her for the Canadian title, but she hadn't had enough rounds, she had not had enough fights to fight for the title, right? And I think me too. Like we were sub 10, and the Canadian body, the Canadian championship body, was like you needed to have over 10 fights or something like that in order to fight for the title. And we were supposed to, they would not allow us to fight more than uh, something like 6 rounds or something like that. So I said, uh, I'll fight you for the cheeseburger. My advisor came in and said, Suge, put the rematch clause in there. If you lose, or if any of y'all lose, you get to rematch, and the rematch then puts you in place for the Canadian title, which the body. We talked to the body, and the body said, yes, we'll allow this. Okay, so it was going to be some good stuff coming. But the catch was, if anybody got knocked out, that rematch clause was out the window. Yeah, so that's how that goes. So, what I did was I pulled, I pulled it back into my waters, because one thing Sugar knows she could do is she could knock a bitch out. Yes, I got the thunderclap, right? Especially if I'm prepared, right? If I get a chance to, if I get a chance, right? So I wasn't trying to beat her off points. I was trying to knock her out. Well, my intention was to knock her out, which I did. And the knockout, I knocked her out in such a way that I ruined her as a fighter. So she ain't been the same since. I think she just got stopped by everybody. Just after I stopped Camara, because my stop, McCaskill, she dropped me in the fight. I keep saying, I tell the story, and I was fighting McCaskill in Chicago, her backyard, and yes, I did get dropped, but I could have got back up and finished the fight. The ref waved the fight off, so technically, um, they said that I was stopped by McCaskill, but yeah, I got clipped, but I didn't get stopped. I stopped Jessica Camara. She wasn't the same. Like Mike, I know you seen the footage. Night, night. But I say, I talk to talk about that, because there was some beef there, and out of the beef, I made burgers. Anyway, what y'all talking about down here? Fistiana Fights came back and said, maybe I worded that incorrectly. I've been a boxing fan for over 40 years. Okay, baby. I know there are plenty of women, but if they aren't ranked, what are the chances of them getting the bigger fights? This the chances, Fistiana. What happens is, you see like how they get the tomato cans and they hype them up, and they say, oh, all of a sudden they done pulled this broad out the air, and now she's a world beater, and this and that and this and that. That's how they do it. They make the bodies then make an opponent, or make an opponent a contender, right? So it's not that, oh, you'll never get a chance. Now, yes, but before, not so much, right? Now, there, like I said, there are many female contenders out there. It's just that you got to get your money together. You got to get your money right. And when you get your money right as a female contender, and you start calling the sanctioning bodies, you have good management, because now, since they put money in there, we got to take it seriously too. We got to get better management, and we got to get money behind us, right? You got to have money to be a woman boxer now. Before, all you had to do was have these. So, in order to join the politics, you gotta get your team up. So yeah, it doesn't mean, and women who are in the rankings aren't necessarily, like, just because you're in the rankings, you may be ranked at 20, that don't mean you're going to get picked. You know what I'm saying? It's really politics and about the money. Um, Michael Orr says World Rankings pound for pound list has 2001 active female pugilists. Okay, so 2001, and I'm sure there's more. Trust me. Um, it the federal ID, the IDs, the that's what you count, right? You don't count the rankings. You don't count who's ranked. You count who got an ID number that's getting in there fighting, because we all have to have an ID number. That's how they keep track of us. It's kind of like a social security number in the US. I don't know, a SIN number in Canada. I don't know what number y'all have in the UK or anywhere else in the world, but everyone has like a government ID number. Well, as a fighter, you get a government ID number too, to show that, oh, you're in this world of pugilism. Michael Orr says, so you can't say there's not enough women out here doing this. Michael Orr also says, don't forget all the registered, goodness, y'all going at it, huh? Let me catch up to y'all. Michael Orr says that, don't forget all the registered active women pugilists that don't even make the pound for pound list. Fistiana Fight says at Michael Orr, I'm not saying there are enough women. What I'm saying is that the sanctioning bodies are known to have empty spots in the rankings. Right, so they have empty spots in the rankings because ain't nobody paid for that spot. Fistiana. That's why. Ain't nobody paid. Your money ain't, right, your money ain't long. Your money might be long enough to be at number 15. Your money ain't long enough to be at number 5. I hope you're getting it. Fistiana Fight says, Michael Orr, and how many of those women will actually get a chance at a world title unranked? More than you believe, trust me, because what happens is if you're the champion, what you do is you get a chance to go down the list, and your people then can choose somebody in the list. They can choose somebody in the list, or they can choose somebody outside of the list and bring them in, right? Because whoever got the gold makes the rules. And if you have the belt, that means you're paying, right? And the sanctioning body, all they want to know is you going to find somebody to pay this money so you can pay us to fight. That's how that works. That's how that works. Michael Orr says, that's why I profile the up and coming females around the world on my Female Friday show on Talkin Fight. Michael Orr says, there's a lot that needs to change to better it for future generation. Fistiana Fight says, exactly, money. Michael Orr says, that's right. Michael Orr says, and sugar is all about that ID number. Fistiana Fight says, but let's be real, money can also buy a spot in the rankings. For damn sure. Michael Orr says, and you also get a star rating on how exciting you are as of Friday. Oh, so you get a star rating? Mike, tell me what this star rating is. Oh, you get a star ranking or rating? Tell me about these stars, Mike. Fistiana Fight says rankings. And then Tony Issue comes in. Tony. And Tony, you must be out the UK, says it's a national insurance number in UK. Okay, so you know what I'm talking about, baby. I like that you hit my line with them facts. Yeah. So Michael Orr says you took the words right out of my mouth. Okay, which one? So Michael Orr says the NIN number. I thought it was a SIN number. Okay. I still got mine. Michael Orr says fighter, and then Michael Orr says ratings. Okay, so y'all, conversation bring it back to this. First, you get the money, then you get the power. And once you have the power, then motherfuckers will respect you. Lil Kim said that. It's true. Especially in women's boxing, right? Nowadays, right? Um, because before it was all about power, and your power was in your promoter. Now your power is in the sanctioning body that you mess with, who you paying, right? So I mean, it is what it. I mean, that's where it is here. But what I like about where it's going is you got fighters like Chantelle Cameron, who's legit, that now got these belts. So in order to get the belts from that broad, from that crone, well, no, she a broad, she 31. Motherfucker got to know how to fight. You got to know how to fight to get in there with Cameron. So it's checks and balances. You know what I'm saying? A real one got a real one got the straps now. I like it. So Fistiana Fights comes in and says, right? And out of those 2,000 women, how many really got those dollars? Just saying. Out of those 2,000 women, more than you think can get that money. You want to know why? Because women's boxing is making money now. And it don't take that much to get a broad who wants to behave badly on the line with you. It ain't much, right? Like I said, we was out here fighting for peanuts, right? Now, do you know how much an investor will get off of a female fighter's head? More than he will get, or he or she will get off of a male fighter, right? Because when you sign your contract with your backer, with your management, and with your promoter as a fighter, yeah, you splitting up that pie, right? So if you say, if you know a fighter, I'm a fighter, and I have a backer that comes in and says, yeah, I'll back you. I know you can fight. I'll back you, but I get 40% of your purse. Well, I never used to make no money before. And now you gonna back me, and I can fight for maybe 6 figures now, up to $1 million. You know what I'm saying? I can fight for up to $1 million now. I'll take $500,000, right? Or I'll split that up. I'll walk away with 200 grand after it's all done. I'll walk away with 50 damn grand as a woman fighter, right? Because we wasn't getting nothing before. If you got 5 figures as a woman boxer, 4 figures, you was a highly paid woman boxer. You were highly valued. And that was back in my time, right? Now they're getting 6 and 7 figures, possibly up there. All of them, like these bras on these big shows. And they're fighting not once a year. They're fighting twice a year, 3 times. Like, come on now. Women's boxing got money in it. And if you're an investor, you put in a couple $1,000s to get this broad to up in the rankings, and you can turn over and make, 6 figures off of her head, and you ain't going in there getting sweating and getting busted up. It makes sense, right? So if y'all look at it business wise now outside the ring, yes, there is value to women's boxing and women boxers. And it's easy to make a women boxing champion now, right? Because you can put a couple, like Diana Santana, what's her name? Dahania Santana. She was she was a high profile. She could fight now, but she made her money from being a high profile opponent, meaning she would fight anybody for for money. And there was a time where the opponents meaning, yeah, I know, I'll go in there, I'll fight to lose. They were making more money than the real contenders, right? So Dehania Santana was one of them, right? So it don't take much, you invest a couple thousand, you give her $10,000 for the year, and she fights somebody like Katie Taylor, and it, you making money off her damn purse. We're valuable now. Um, so seeing as we're valuable now, we can be smarter and we can make more moves. I mean, before I've had stories where, you walk in, you used to have to beg a male trainer to train you, or you had to give up the cookies. Something had to be going on for you to get a male trainer to seriously, give time, show up at the gym and friggin' train you and believe in you. You know what I'm saying? Now you got fighters like Emily Bridges that go from gym to gym, vetting trainers. They signed it talking about pick me, I'll train you, right? Because there's money in it now. These stumble bums can make a couple dollars off of our heads now, right? And like I said, Savannah Marshall, if you listening to me, baby, 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 bless your heart, you tried, but you need to get your money back from them that trained you for that fight against Clarissa. They had you in there looking bad, girl. You could have did better on your own. Girl, you should have called me. And I'm not joking. Call somebody. Girl, you ain't gave that money away. Cause they didn't help you at all. Savannah Marshall. I hope you're not coming back fighting those friend Sean Cruz with with them same trainers or them same people in your corner. Um, Girl, spend your money otherwise. Yeah, but like I said, there's money in it now, right? But Eddie Hearn, look at him, like he's like a big deal. He's a big deal now, and he's a promoter. Like he's focusing on women's boxing, right? The only promoter who started it, the one who started it was Don King, right? He promoted Christy Martin big time and made her into a superstar. And then, it was a sideshow. Then the Olympics came. And from the Olympics, I guess it brought more value where they can make these broads, Katie, Clarissa, all of these broads that medaled or were names at the Olympics. They can now make them something that the promoters or the fans would value. Um, so let's see what y'all are talking about. So Michael Orr says, the ones that we keep seeing siding for the titles or fighting for the titles have that money. Michael Orr also says, what are the blue chip prospects? What are the blue chip prospects and that get signed in the Olympics? Okay. Michael Orr also says the ones that have the star ratings. Now, BoxRec then put stars on people name like this totally different, right? Everybody's everybody's finding their way to get their money, right? Because how do you get a star? How do you get a star now? Like seriously. Um the ones that have the star ratings. Fistianify says, oh, absolutely. Okay, Michael Orr says 5 stars equal both opponents have 20 point oh rating points at least. Best 10 boxers. Best 10 boxers. 4 stars equal both opponents have a 8.4 rating points at least. And they're the best out of 30 boxers. 3 stars. Both opponents have 3.34 rating points. See, y'all understand this points and stars and all of that stuff. Like, it's different now because stars and ratings, that shit was in Pokemon. It wasn't in us real boxers. It was like how you get your ratings and your kudos was you was getting in there, and you were actually performing, and people knew whether you were an opponent, a contender, or a champion. The fans, the people saw it. Now you got stars, so people, you look at a star and automatically in your mind, if you haven't seen the person fight or whatever, you're thinking, oh, they have 3 stars, they have 4 stars, so they must be good. I don't know. It Double-edged sword. Maybe that's their way of keeping everyone honest now, I guess. Michael Orr says rating points at least equals not rated boxers. Okay, Michael Orr also says, and this is just a glimpse into the star ratings. Like I said, star ratings, wow. That's that's some Pokemon stuff for me. I like to watch a fighter. I'm familiar with the good ones out here. I only need to see but a couple rounds, and I know if you're real or not. And that's what I want. I want people, I want legitimate eyes to be honest in this sport. I want you guys out here to know who the local broad in your area, who the baddest broad is in your area, who behaves badly out of your state, out of your country, out of your region. you know I want you to be familiar with these names. That's how we become. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's all about the people, and that what you want to be is a people's champ, right? And I like to say Sugar was a people's champ, not a belt champ or anything, so to speak. You know, um, I I made my name because people knew who I was. They saw what I did. They saw me in the streets training. I went to schools. I spoke to people. They bought tickets to see me. I made fans when I flew all the way out to like boony places like Red Deer, Calgary, and walked out of there with the damn, you know, with the club. I walked out of there with the people on my side, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Um, Fistiana Fights comes in and says, do you think that since there are few undisputed women champions, it kind of freezes out some of the women contenders? I mean, how many undisputed women are there? 6? And that's what I'm saying. Fistiana Fights, like, you got me tonight with this. I love the conversation. Um, I do think this undisputed garbage is monopolizing space for contenders, right? Because how you gonna have all the damn belts, right? I loved it. I mean, I want it to be. I want women's boxing to be where male boxing was in the 80s, the time where, back in the time where there were like the different kings in the same weight class. So like I want the different queens of the same weight class, right? Each baddie got to hold a different belt and have them fight out for it. You know what I'm saying? Instead of having one broad with all the damn belts. It's just redundant after a while. I'm sick of seeing the same chick with the same outfit, with the same song and dance, right? I want to see, let me see some other baddies with belts, right? But it's money, right? And they don't, now I see where it's turning into like a soap opera now in women's boxing. And the men who have taken charge of women's boxing don't understand the organic dynamic of the appeal of women's boxing, right? Women's boxing is you got to like the broad. It's not about who's the best, who threw the most punches or whatever. It's you got to like that badass. You got to like how she got to be bad too, mind you. She got to know how to fight. She got to know how to fight, right? Because yeah, we went through the thirst trapping age. But let's take it back to the age back in the day when the women pioneers were out, right? Where it was just up in the air on which bitch was badder, because it was many of them, right? And they had to prove, not only they had to prove themselves, but they had to prove that they were worthy to be looked at as a fighter. Let's bring it back to that, right? This whole thirst trapping and I got all the belts and all the colors. It's really corny. Um, Fisty on the Fight says, I definitely feel you on that. Michael Orr comes in, says, there are 7 undisputed females currently until McCaskill vacated the WBO title. Oh, she vacated the WBO title? How sway? Why? Why she wasn't enough money to have all the belts? Fistiana Fight says, and that's the problem I'm having with women's boxing right now. Great point. Thank you, baby. I'm glad that we could see eye to eye on that. Michael Orr says female. Michael Orr says so sorry. Michael Orr says for the voice to text. Oh, okay. So you using that? I thought I was like he typing pretty fast. But yeah, I just feel like more money can be made with more contenders. What you put in is what you get out, right? So if there are more sharks, or more, feed them. Feed the damn sharks so they can now fight the other bigger sharks. Because people, at the end of the day, what do people want to see? They want to see women behave badly. They don't want to see, oh, who is stronger, who threw the most punches or whatever. They want to see who's getting freaky in the John. You know what I'm saying? Uh, they want to see drama. They want to see action in there. And our drama and action are more, to me, it's more interesting, right? We're emotional. Women are emotional. We are. I claim it. Okay. So more skill behind the emotion, yes. But I want to see that. I want to see styles, different styles in there that makes fights, right? So Chantelle Cameron, she came in, different style. She really doesn't fight like an amateur. She fights like a pro fighter, Chantelle Cameron. Very basic though, very basic. But now she's I think she's changing the game where she's bringing the more pro uh, look and feel in the ring. And I think Fisty on the Fights, that's where you see where she had Katie Taylor's number, where she was like, nah, we ain't doing this amateur shit. You ain't throwing these flurries and thinking that I'm not going to not stand in front of your ass. Because here I go. Somebody say you was looking for me. Here I go. That's mystical. He's a rapper from back in the 2000s, early 2000s. Y'all got me like y'all got me really quoting like bars. Anyway, old bars too. Um, so Aficionado Fight says Michael Orr comes in and says, and there has never been an undisputed heavyweight female champion to date. And you know what, Mike? I've been said it. I'm waiting for the big girls to take over. I want the big girls to come in. I'm sick of these little broads. Ain't nothing like seeing a big broad fight. 2 big broads? Let me tell you, it's something. It's something about the jiggling. It's something about, yeah, I said it. It's something about just the meat being thrown around. I like it. I want to see it. The little, I've had enough. I've had enough. I want to see two soundly big broads throw leather in there and give and take. And there has been some out there. There have been. Um, but they're not putting money. Everybody's, and that's the other thing that I can't stand about I'm sorry, about women's boxing. I love us, but I can't stand us at the same time, because everybody wants to run down to, if there's a celebrity boxer, they want to run down to her weight class just to fight her, right? Which takes away from women's boxing. What we want all the weight classes to be interesting, all the weight classes to be full, so we can eat. Fistiana Fight says at Michael Orr, there never will until the WBA and WBO get on board. There will be a women's boxing. Listen, Fistiana, it was never about the sanctioning bodies with women's boxing, right? And we want to keep it that way. If we're smart in women's boxing, we'll keep the sanctioning bodies out of it, because they're taking what little money we can get. There can be two heavyweight broads that get the attention of the people. And that's what that's what it's all about, getting people wanting to see you fight somebody, right? So if there's a big baddie out here that she's slumping broads, or she's doing bitches bad in there, and then there's another one that's doing the same thing, and we all know about them, because social media is free, right? You just need a promoter to put to rally these broads up. There you have it. And then, the sanctioning body will get on board, because, yeah, we love the opportunity. It would be in the best interest of women's boxing to have two big broads behave badly so we could make some money off their ass, right? That's really what it's all about. It's not about the sanctioning bodies. We want to get away from that. We want the people to know us, and the people to want to see us in the ring. Fistiana Fight says, right. Fistiana Fights gives me a smiley face. Thank you, baby. At Fistiana says, so true. Michael Orr says, so true. Okay, Fistiana Fights comes in and says, he was talking about undisputed for heavyweight, but the WBA and WBO won't have a women's champion. And that's what I'm saying, Fistiana. I'm saying the WBA and the WBO doesn't matter when it comes to heavyweight women's boxing. We've got to get away, and I'm saying this to you too, Mike. We got to get away from this undisputed stuff, because undisputed is political. Let's take the politics out of the fighting, out of women's boxing. You put the politics in women's boxing, you're going to have what we have in male boxing. You wait for 2-3 years for two broads to fight. And that's not going to do well for us, for women, right? Because, women got things, we got stuff going on outside of the ring. You know what I'm saying? We got things like, we only got a window of time to dedicate our lives to this. You're dedicating your life. And if you decide to step out, have a baby, and come back, you can't leave with the title and say, oh, when I'll be back, I'll start off the same place. No, it's different. But a man, he can have 10, 20, 50, 11 babies while he's still fighting. Right? He can have families. He can do all of that stuff while still fighting. we're different. Women are different. We're different. So I don't see where women boxers are going to dedicate their lives to the sport to the extent where they forego um, their window of opportunity to make their families, to be mothers, to do all of these things. And you can't do that. You can't have a big belly and somebody growing inside of you while you train for a fight and then come back from that and be on top. It just doesn't work that way. Um, so let's take the sanctioning stuff out of this and let's bring it back to, sorry y'all, sugar's getting peckish. And yes, I got some, I got me some, I'm hungry, y'all. So I got what y'all may call crisps over where y'all are. I got me some tater chips, and I'm just finna snack on. Mm, mm. And these are my favorite ones, y'all. Them jalapeno, the spicy jalapeno. Mm, that thing hit. You heard me. So, yeah, I had to. Listen, I've been on go. Um, Christiana Fight says, gotcha. All right, baby. Thank you. You know, I just want you to hear what I'm saying. So, Michael Orr says, you know you're gonna save me some of those. You can have some of my spicy. I got some spicy for you, Mike. May not be the chips. Michael Orr says, where's my jalapeno? You better come get it. Come get it, Mike. Come get it. And then I got some spicy, so I gotta wash it down. Let me tell you. Listen, y'all. I hope y'all snacking with me. Tell me what y'all snacking on too. Ain't nothing like some chips and some good drink and a good conversation. And I'm having a great time with y'all tonight. Fistiana Fights, Michael Orr, Tony. Fistiana Fights, give me the licking of the lips. Yes, baby. You know, thank you guys. Thank you all for chiming in tonight with me. You know, I'm feeling kind of lonely for the past couple months, but Tony Issue came in. I really thank y'all. We having, yeah, just a great time. But you know what? Let me go through this. I'm gonna go through Chantelle Cameron's hit list, right? Her receipt, because I want y'all to know that this one legit. Okay, lovely assistant. Um. Let's go through these images that we got, that we done put together. All right, so you see Chantelle Cameron here, and this is in no particular order, y'all, okay? This is just who she fought. Fisty on the Fight says, I found this channel yesterday. It's a blessing. Thank you for the appreciation. Yes. Talking Fight is the jam out here. Okay. We got some good folks on here. And I would just appreciate it if you kept come seeing me every Wednesday around this time, Fistiana. And bring some of your news in on this too, because I like the way you talk. But okay, so in no particular order, okay, these are the broads that this is Chantelle's hit list, her receipt. Okay, so we got Chantelle Cameron there to the far left, and to the far right, Jessica McCaskill. Okay. And so this was the fight for all the belts, okay? For undisputed 140 pounds. So McCaskill on the right came down from 147. She said some lame bull jive, talking about 147 is easy. It go down to 140 where the challenge is. I'm like, bitch, please. You going down to 140 from 147 because them big broads is putting their hands on you. And you don't like that tickle feel. It ain't tickling no more, right? Because you going in windmilling them. Come back with that weight, the weight behind, if even if they hit you and you blocking that shit, you feeling it resonate through your body. That's the thing about fighting outside, big outside your weight class. You got to be durable enough and be able to withstand the damage and the the force and the beats that are coming to you. So I think she said, Ramos, that's her remote controller. I, it it hurts up here. I can't take no more of these beats. I gotta go down. I gotta go down and wait. It just don't feel right that I got to get in here and get beat up like this, because she wasn't even fighting the contenders, the high end contenders at 147. She was fighting the people that she could pick and choose because she got money behind her. So she was picking and choosing. And even those people, when they were putting their hands on her, um, it wasn't stinging. That junk was rocking her shit. So, she said, I got to go down. But she went down to Chantelle. Chantelle was like, no, oh, you want to see me? Oh, you think I ain't gonna put the beats on you? That was one of the best executed ass whoopings I've seen. On my list now is Super Bad Estrada versus what you call it, Esparza. Okay, put Estrada put a freaking workshop technical. She gave her a damn 101 lesson on ass whooping. Yes. Goodness, Estrada, what's her first name? Come on, Mike. Y'all know. Against Marla Estrada, who was I think she was a bronze medalist at the Olympics. Anyway, that, and then Chantelle Cameron versus Jessica McCaskill. It was done in the most professional way. Chantelle put that wild put that bitch in a box and put a bow on it and said, "Here you go. Here go your ass whooping." From every post. She was trying to wild. Chantelle was like, no, we're going to contain this shit. Anyway, I enjoyed that fight. It was great. She handedly defeated Jessica McCaskill. And we're just waiting to see if the sanctioning bodies would think that it's good for women's boxing for McCaskill now to run back on up to 147 and get her beats. Because she had all the belts. She was undisputed. Okay, so lovely assistant. Next. Who is next? Who is another name on Chantelle Cameron's hit list? Okay, so this was a fight. This was some pictures and clips from the fight. And yeah, boy, it was good. Y'all need to watch it. It's a good fight out here. Fistiana Fights asked me, well, Fistiana Fights came in and said, absolutely. And then Fistiana Fights comes in and said, do you think Clarissa will go back up? Let me ask you this. because she the real pound for pound. Clarissa Shields had the moonlight from up to down, down to up. When Clarissa Shields fights, she makes money regardless. Clarissa Shields seems like her body has now matured. She don't have the baby fat on her like she did before. She's starting to harden up. You're starting to see her muscles coming in. She's getting more solid. I think she will eventually move back up. She'll probably move back up to middle, super middleweight when she becomes older. Because I don't see where it would benefit her to keep going down in weight. As I've said before in the other weight classes, you're a different, in the other episodes, you're a different fighter at different weight classes, okay? I was a different fighter. I every time I dipped down to 134, and I was just talking to great fighter out here. Y'all need to bring her back. Y'all need to demand that she gets back in the ring, Melissa St. Ville. So I was talking to Melly Mel, and she said, "Girl," she has the cutest voice to me. She was like, "Girl, I went down to 126. I said, "Girl, how you get down there?" She said, her manager and the person that moved her at the time knew a lot about like making weight. They like were they know about the bodybuilding and all of that stuff. So they knew how to lean her out and cut her down so she remained strong while she was at the lower weight. And I was like, damn. I said, how you feel like that way? She was like, I felt good. It was an easy fight. When I went down, all I ever knew as a fighter was hard work. That's how you lost weight, to go down, right? And so that's where a lot of the advantages were. Like when you have good matchmakers and we have people who stalk, you can see the fighters who do that, right? So I worked hard, or I depleted myself anytime I had to go down in weight below 140. I depleted myself, went without meals, depleted myself, which was not good for me. And when you deplete yourself, your muscles don't work as well, and you don't have you're sacrificing your strength, and the other things have to come into play, your skill, and you're even sacrificing a bit of your durability. Okay. So in me doing that, things just never went well for me when I went down closer to 135. Knowing what I know now, if I had done it how Melissa St. Ville knew how to do it, I would have probably been more devastating at those lower weights because I had the thunderclap. But I digress. It is what it is. I think Clarissa Shields, as her body matures, she'll find out that it's harder to suck down, and when she does suck down, it'll be harder to bounce back, because that's what happens too. When you suck down, it's harder to bounce back, to revive your body and get back in. I mean, this shit plays on your health, okay? Boxing ain't no joke. Just because us women do it, don't mean it's easy, and don't mean it's a walk in the park. Like, that's why I love us out here, because us who did it, who do it, who you saw do it, who fought. We so I don't even want to call us dogs. Like we we're some goons and goblins. Like don't let the smooth taste fool you here, right? I'm a monster. I've done things to as a fighter and to fight, right? Um, I've lived in the trenches. You know what I'm saying? I was one that didn't have the cakewalk like Michaela Meyer and all of them who were able to pick and choose and right. I'm from the group that we're not like that. We didn't have that. There was no protection, right? You were going into the beehive, right? I don't call it the lion's den. I call it the beehive, right? Because it's a queen bee, right? And you had to walk past and walk in through all of that shit and kill the queen in order to come out on top. Um, so yeah, I think Clarissa Shields may end up just as she matures, possibly just going back up and staying there. Um, and also depending on if we have some some good contenders in the heavier weights. I also know that they're out to get Clarissa Shields too. They're not trying to give her the GOAT. They're not trying to tell her that she's the GOAT. They're not trying to even give her pound for pound, right? They're waiting. Just like how the matchmakers stalk you and you know, they're just waiting. They're waiting for her to, um, for her to start to decline because we do as fighters, male boxers and female boxers. And if you don't mature and evolve in your game when you're in the ring, that decline will be your downfall, right? So she has to mature. She has to get out of her this style that she has and get into another style as her body changes, as her metabolism slows down, as you know, she has an IQ so she can settle in there more, but also there are going to be younger strong contenders coming, so she's got to know how to navigate her way and her performance to where she's still winning. um, and she's going to have to get some power too. She's going to have to start stopping some of these broads because Shields ain't never she hasn't stopped anybody. um, Fisty on the Fight says, I hate to see that, but I understand the sacrifices that need to be made. Fistiana Fights also says, as far as Chantelle, do you think her skill level continues to rise? I think she's on a if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of vibe right now. She has always had that basic pro style. And unless there's a contender that that makes her have to come out of that, she's going to stay in that and just become comfortable executing that basic style, pro style, in, out, move to your left, in, out, step around the angle, move to your left, move to your right a little bit, then angle back up, in, block out. Like you could see it, it's almost like you could time it. She's also, like I said, she can afford the good drugs now, right? So, and I'm not saying PEDs, right? I'm not saying the illegal ones, but I'm saying the ones that she can take, right? Because she has bulked up substantially since she first started. And that costs money. That costs money. So it lets you know that she got money behind her, because of how you've seen her body change and how she's developed. Um, so yeah, that. Um, Lovely assistant, can you change the image? Change the image, please. Who's the next one? Ooh, so we got Chantelle Cameron here at the weigh-ins versus you see to my left here, that's Mary McGee. Fisty on the Fights comes in and says, great point. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you vibing with me. Um, so to my immediate left here, you got Mary McGee. Mary McGee is a very good contender. I thought I was gonna fight Mary McGee. We were active at the same time. I'm a bit older than her, but we turned. I turned pro first, and then shortly after turned pro. The lucky thing about her is she turned pro under a promoter. So she started off with a great promoter. He was feeding her fights, and she was blossoming. Blossoming. She didn't have much of an amateur career, so she was learning on the job. She had a good following there in Gary, Indiana, where she's from, and she got a belt. Before, unfortunately, I think she got a belt. Then, unfortunately, her promoter passed away. And it was just her now down with the rest of us, trying to get a promoter, trying to get people, trying to get good management, just trying to do this thing. She has some pretty Mary McGee's. I would say one of her most profound matches is her fight between her fight versus Holly Holmes. She was Holly Holmes' last boxing fight. I think before she went and kicked Ronda Rousey up in her chin and ended that bullshit where they was on some MMA Rousey was better than women's boxing. I wasn't big on Holly Holm. I wanted to fight her as well. Wasn't big on her. I just wouldn't. I am fan. I do have women fighters that I just truly admire and respect as fighters in this game that I know they can fight. Layla McCarter is one of them. But Holly Holm wasn't. But she had it all at the time, right? She had everything a female fighter, a successful female fighter was supposed to have or should have at the time. She had a millionaire promoter and backer. And she didn't have to leave her hometown. And she made the most money. And everybody, she was like the celebrity. She became a celebrity. She became a celebrity female fighter over there in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Everybody wanted to clamor over there and fight her because, number one, you knew you were going to get paid. And number two, okay, I get to fight Holly Holm, right? Mary McGee fought Holly Holm. She lost in that fight. And she did remain a high sought contender because after that fight, she was able to attain a title, a world title. She held on to that title for, she fought decent contenders, and she held on to that title. And then it came to this tournament that was brought to front. It was a junior welterweight tournament. It was called, what was it called? Y'all help me. It was called the Undisputed, something, the Road to Undisputed, something like that. Okay. And she was one that had the world title. So she put her world title on the line for this tournament because I guess this tournament was supposed to pull in in people who were interested and money and the other bodies for these undisputed titles for the titles at 140 pounds. Well, I don't think Mary McGee is a fighter to me that is very she has a lot of potential. Um and she has a bit of talent, but what she did not have was growth. In her years in the game, Mary McGee had the same style that she did when she first started fighting. And, you know, if you don't grow with your opposition, and if you don't grow with the industry, with who's in front of you, you become obsolete, right? Your style becomes obsolete. You're not a problem anymore. You're easy to solve. Okay, so Mary McGee became easy to solve, and I don't think she understood that. Um, you have to have people around you to keep you grounded. You have to have the sparring, or you just have to have an understanding. Her IQ is low, um, as in boxing, and this ain't no shade. This ain't no shade. Sugar is just going to tell the truth. Okay, she's still young. She's still out there. She still has the potential. All she needs to do all she needs to do is reinvent herself, and she can be she can be a problem on the scene again. And I would suggest for Mary McGee to not rally at the lower weights anymore. She needs to get up there to 150, to middleweight, and she needs to mix it up with them broads up there, because she's at the age now. She's mature. Her body's solid. She can deal with them extra pounds. She can deal with the opposition there in that weight. I believe she's fast. She's fast. She can move. And I believe if she takes that up there into the heavier weight, middleweight, junior middleweight, she will actually be better up there than she was down in the lower weights. But I'm just throwing that out there. I hope she comes back on the scene. But I don't think she'll get any of these belts back at these lower weights. Fistiana Fights comes in and says, I wasn't sure if she was going to fight anymore after fighting Chantelle. So I have an episode that outlines the temperament of fighters, right? Because your trainers and your training, you have to develop your style, and development and evolution is based on your temperament as a fighter. And you should check it out. Because then you can figure out what kind of fighter you are too. Because the fighter, me sitting here, Sugar sitting here, or Natalie sitting here, Natalie ain't Sugar, and Sugar ain't Natalie, right? Sugar is my alter ego. Sugar is a melancholic, choleric fighter. Um, and that's the temperament of Sugar. Natalie is I would say, a phlegmatic, melancholic individual. Um, so I would say the temperament of Mary McGee, she's a sanguine. She's a sanguine fighter, meaning she wants to always look good. It's all about her looking good, right? And so being beat the way she did by Chantelle Cameron was a severe blow to her ego. Um, she's not one of those that'll dust herself and get back up again after. And this is what I like about Chantelle Cameron, right? Because Chantelle Cameron is a pure choleric. She's a pure choleric in the ring. You're not going to outdo her, and she's going to go straight for your chest. And she going to embarrass you while she do that shit. If she could beat your ass up, she going to beat you up. She's not going to try to say, she'll stop you too, but she won't beat your ass up, right? And so you got to be humble to fight a fighter like that, right? Because she gonna hurt you. Like Savannah Marshall said, she gonna hurt you. She's gonna hurt you. And your temperament, the way you receive how you receive these things in the ring is your temperament, right? A sanguine fighter, oh my gosh, everybody just saw me get hit. Oh my gosh, this shit hurts. Oh my gosh, everybody sees me in pain. Like, then they start to defeat their own self, right? While they're fighting. So, you know, Mary McGee went in there, she done fell, she done, all of this stuff. She in there looking a mess. So it was taking her down and down. Something like that, coming away from a fight like that against a choleric fighter like Chantelle Cameron, is you have to, as a fighter, as a sanguine fighter like Mary McGee, you have to lay that old you to rest. Have a funeral for her. She's dead. And you have to reinvent yourself, like I said. You got to you ain't merciless Mary McGee no more. You got to find something else that you are, some dig deeper inside of you and wake something else up in you, another monster, and bring her out, right? And then bloom from there. You can't be the same that you are, because you're going to relive it. As a sanguine, you're going to relive it. Your ego will make you relive that defeat, that embarrassment over and over and over again. And you will second guess everything you do in there if you remain that fighter that you were, right? You got to be crazy in here. Fighting ain't for sane people. All of us, we got a couple screws loose. Yeah, that's why we can get in there in front of thousands of people and do what we do. That don't mean that we stupid. That don't mean that we're evil. That don't mean anything. It just means that we're wired. Like our gears aren't as tight as everyone else's. Fistiana Fight says, I agree. I hope she is taking the time to do that, because I would love to see her fight again. Yes, Mary McGee is an entertaining fighter. I think she is a fighter that can bring and draw an audience. Because you have to, like I said, it's about liking the broad, if you like her or not. It's not about turning the fists over. It's about getting in there and performing and having a personality outside of the ring as well. And I think she does have that. And I do look forward to seeing her come back. I hope she does find herself, find another version of herself, feed it, and let it loose, because it's not too late for her. She still has some, she's croning. She still has some years left though. So as you can see in this picture though, you see Mary McGee, I ain't even gonna lie, she looking like Michael Jackson off a Thriller. Y'all know in the part in the video when Michael Jackson turned into the zombie and was like, mm-mm, mm-mm. Nah, I'm not laughing at Mary, but this is the shit. Y'all are looking at what it is, okay? She has depleted herself down to where her eyes are sunken in and she's not juicy. And you got to be juicy to get in there and be hydrated and fight. She done drained. Look at her stomach. She has depleted and drained herself to make this weight to fight Chantelle. And as you can see, Chantelle then came down too, but you can see Chantelle looks like she's smart with it, right? And so when I saw this picture before their fight, been there, done that, baby. That was me. That was me for the McCaskill fight. I knew it wasn't going to end well. I was happy that she made it to the end of the fight, because when you deplete yourself that much, you put yourself in a position to get hurt. You do. And it's not that the other fighter's better or stronger or anything than you. It's that you have killed yourself just a little bit. So this person can finish you off. Right? You're not in there at you're not in there at a fraction of your best. You're just in there hoping that you can kind of dance your way to a victory. It never works. I'm telling all of you fighters, male and female out there, it never works. Don't ever. The game ain't there no more for that you can deplete yourself and come out of it. Right? I think that's probably what happened to Amanda Serrano versus Erica Cruz. I think you get to an age or you get to a point in your fighting career or in your development where you can't do that shit no more. You will hurt yourself. You'll end up punchy, right? Look at I just saw a recent interview with Amanda Serrano, and you no shade, y'all, but she sound kind of punchy, right? She don't sound like she did before. She doesn't sound like the Amanda Serrano that she did before. We all know, and the thing is, ain't nothing sadder than a punchy female fighter. Y'all know what a punchy fighter sounds like and looks like, right? And it's hard because you can't tell them to stop, and it's up to them whether they want to stop or not. And it just only goes downhill from there. Fistiana Fights comes in and says, yeah, she does look pretty bad. Yeah, Mary didn't look good in this picture, for the weigh-in. Fistiana Fights comes in and says, it reminds me of one of Devin Haney's fight against Cambosos, but he was able to win that fight, but he won't be at 35 much longer. I see that too. Even in the recent fight, I see that. Fistiana Fight says, I think that's dangerous. It is, and they playing this weight game like it's fun and funny, and it's not. Right? And you play it enough times, you get a brain bleed, and you get hit. It may not be hard, you get hit, and next thing you know, you want some you can't even speak your name. I've seen it. I've seen it happen in it. Pardon me, y'all. I've seen it happen where it's not even a fight. It's only hard sparring sessions. You got macho dummies in there going in there without no headgear. Talking about, yeah, you can hit me. I spar without head. Yeah, you sparring without headgear? Oh, we do hard sparring. Oh, you hard sparring? Not understanding that we are human. We are human. You may feel godlike, but you're human, and that shit adds up, and it'll be that one blow that you get either in sparring or in a fight, and you're gone. Your faculties are gone. You don't have them no more. I am so grateful because I came through the hard way. I've come through hard sparrings. There were no other women to spar and work with when I was coming up. So I had some sessions where I was in the ring with a lot of times some men who hit me like I was another dude and trying to get me out of there. And this is in sparring. Okay, so what I realized, and this especially after I had my child, is Suge. Natalie was talking to Suge. Suge, if you're gonna do this, your baby needs you to be able to be present and have your faculties so you can be a mother to them. So that's where I learned, okay, skills pay the bills. And then mostly that's when I learned to speak up. Boom. The fuck? Oh, you hit this shit is over. Sparring fight's over. Right? I will end the session. I will walk out of a session if I feel like if I'm hit and I feel like you're trying to hurt me, I'm done. Right? And fighters, male fighters, but mostly female fighters, you be empowered to do that, right? Because we don't have to prove anything to anybody. We in here, we're fighters just like everybody else. We're trying to make a buck just like everybody else. We're trying to end with all our faculties. So I'm so grateful. Like, I'll forget your name. I'll give you a nickname real quick. But that's just because I'm Ruby Scott's granddaughter. We bad with names, but we'll give you a nickname because we love you. And that's what, my grandmother used to say. This is how she used to justify it. She used to say, your nickname is your real name because that's the name that your peers see. That's what they see in you, right? So to be called Sugar is such an honor for me because I didn't name myself Sugar. Even to be called Too Bad, Miss Too Bad, I didn't name myself these names. It was my peers, my fans that gave them to me. So I earned that. That's my belt right there, you know? But I digress. Back to this. Um, and lovely assistant, are there any other images with these two fighters? So in there, like I said, Mary McGee, it just wasn't her night versus Chantelle Cameron. Lovely assistant, change the picture, please. But she's still a great contender, and like I said, I look forward to her coming back and reclaiming another title and possibly in another weight division. Then we have Melissa Hernandez, lovely assistant, because I got pictures, right? And y'all, I don't like you holding my night up. Fistiana Fight says, I think that's dangerous. Yes. And then Fistiana Fight comes in, says, right. And Fistiana Fights comes in and says, damn right. Yeah, right. I'm spitting tonight, ain't I? Yeah. I'm glad you're agreeing with me. So, this is another picture where you can see these ladies. I think this was before the weigh-in, where you can see they looking better. They both juicy up there. Okay. Now you see Chantelle Cameron, she thickums. And the thing that I notice about her too is now that she's stepping up in weight, you'll never see her in tight clothes or showing her body like she did when she was smaller. She always got like a big suit on. You'll see maybe that she'll have like her pants on like this, but in her fight with in her fight just this past weekend, she had the whole baggy sweatsuit on. You was not seeing her body. So that leads me to believe that she's doing some very extensive water cutting methods, because that's what you do, right? You cut water. And I mean, I've seen it where, I ain't even gonna lie, I've seen it where they put the IV in and suck it out, and then after the weigh-in, they put the IV and add it back in. I've seen it. Yes, in male fighters, and now it looked like they're starting to do it for female fighters. Check, mate. Okay, this industry, this game ain't a game. So then you have, like I said, Mary. I mean, she looks great. She's one of them diva. She's one not a diva like Sean, but she one of them sexy girls out here. She always tries to look hot up there as a fighter, and yeah, she looked cute up here for this show for this face off. And she had I think was that the what belt is that? Is that the WIBA, something like that belt? And she was fighting Chantelle for that WBC. So yeah. Next, lovely assistant. Give me the next one. I was mentioning Melissa Hernandez. Okay. Oh, and this was during the fight. So it looked like she got one on Cameron. Cameron took that and was given one at the same time. Okay, so this is how that fight looked. Next image, lovely assistant. All right, so we have Chantelle Cameron versus, and to my immediate left left here, Melissa Hernandez, who is a I could say that she done made herself a legend. Yeah. She had a great run in women's boxing. She fought all great contenders. She was like I said, she fought one of my favorite fighters in Layla McCarter. Chevelle Hallback, Chevy, she fought. Like she stepped to everybody. She was a smaller gal, smaller broad. I remember in amateurs, she was around seeing her fight one time. And she fought at 165 in the amateurs. So she was a big girl in the amateurs, and she came all the way down for pro, and she did the damn thing. Now, when she fought Chantelle Cameron, she was inactive for a very long time. She was actually at the tail end of her crone-ship. Like she would be considered an old fighter at the time. Inactive, and just out the blue, she took the challenge from Chantelle Cameron. I think she thought, shit, I've been around. I'm Melissa Hernandez. As a matter of fact, I ain't even gonna lie. I went on the thread. I went on the women's boxing W-band thread. And I was like, man, this little young wet nose ain't gonna beat Melissa Hernandez. Melissa Hernandez got some of the best footwork in women's boxing. Like hands down, skills pay the bills. She ain't been out here long enough to deal with no Melissa Hernandez. I was big on that, even though Melissa Hernandez was off, was inactive for a while. But she shut my ass up. Yeah, boy. Chantelle, lovely assistant. You switch the picture. So this one, and there go Getty Image, David Becker. There you go. I'm giving you your kudos for using your picture. But in this picture here, you got she's slipping a shot, but unfortunately, she got Melissa Hernandez in the green, in the Puerto Rican flag, short little skirt there with the lime green. She got stopped by Chantelle Cameron, and I couldn't say nothing. She shut my damn mouth up. Chantelle Cameron handedly stopped Melissa Hernandez, but Melissa Hernandez came in there, Christiana Fights came in and says the layoff played a part. I wonder what if it would have been like if Melissa was active. And that's what I was saying too. Like Chantel's management or people, them, they were smart with this one, right? They picked the fruit when it was old and stale, which is what you want, what they want. Um, that layoff, fighting a contender like Chantelle Cameron from that layoff was the worst thing Melissa Hernandez could have done for her legacy, because she looked bad in there versus Chantelle Cameron. I don't think it would have been, I don't think the fight would have been stopped. And I think she would have done better for herself in the ring if if and I'm talking about Melissa Hernandez, gotten if she had knocked some of that ring rust off of her, and she had let her bones harden back up. Because when you on layoff, okay, and this is another reason why my fight ended the way it happened, the way it did with McCaskill, is because when you are on hiatus, your bones get soft. Your bones get soft. Soft bones meaning you're not durable. You're not fight durable. You can go in there and spar and everything, yeah, but you got to be, your body has to harden up so you can, your jawline, your skull has to be hard so you can withstand and take shots. When your bones are soft, you're not gonna, if you get hit in these places, you're not going to absorb it like you would when you're active, and when your body's in there, like you're training consistently and training hard, right? So with this one, I think that was the main deal in how it ended, but I do still think that Chantelle Cameron would have beat Melissa Hernandez, because Chantelle Cameron is a stronger fighter than Melissa. Melissa never had power like that. Melissa had shenanigans and skills that would get her to the wins, right? She will outskill your ass. But Chantelle Cameron also has skills. So they were neutral, like it was pretty even there. So I don't think Melissa Hernandez would have pulled away uh, enough to win the fight over Chantelle Cameron. She just would have had a better performance there. So that's my take on that. Um, Next picture, or next slide, please. But Fistiana Fights, I think you did. It's true. Fistiana Fights comes in and says, I agree. I still think that Chantelle would have won if Melissa had a tune-up fight before. Yeah, like Chantelle is that gal. I ain't taking nothing from her. She's that gal. And this picture here is of Anayi Sanchez. And this is just, this is a shot, this is a picture because I think she should be mentioned. She put on a good fight against Chantelle. She didn't get stopped. She lost by decision. But the thing about her, the crux about her is uh, Anaïs Sanchez is a bantamweight naturally. Like, she's a bantamweight fighter who is stepping up to this higher weight class, fighting these bigger broads. Anaïs, she fought McCaskill, and she also fought Katie Taylor. So I think she's got some, like, she got some big boobies in her bra to big her chest up, to bump her chest up and say, yeah, I'll fight you, and go up to these broads weight class. So it's an honorable mention, I think, especially going the distance with a fighter like Chantelle Cameron, and you're a smaller fighter, speaks volumes. That means that, she can stand in there. She's a good contender. Uh, next, Next slide, please, baby. And so we got Vivian Obanoff, which, I mean, people going to say what they say about her, but I like her. I like her. She cray. She cray cray. I like her. Um, she she got stopped by Chantelle. But this fighter here, Vivian Obanoff, she was, this fighter, there's different styles too, type of fighter, right? I call her fight style, I think she was a juggernaut. Juggernaut meaning that, much like McCaskill's a juggernaut, the more force you bring to them is the more force they can generate and bounce back at you, right? I can tell, by giving that, because um, when Obanoff fought Natasha Jonas, she dropped Natasha Jonas like, I think two or three times. Like, they were trying hard, they were trying bad, they wanted Natasha to win bad for real. And Natasha kept getting up, because that's another one too that got hard. I like Natasha Jonas too, but Obanoff was just all upside her head, and she overwhelmed her and beat her that night. At the end of the day, you at the end of the day, you got a fighting chance. And so Obanoff, she will cash in. She will cash in on that fighting, that fighting chance. And so when she stepped up, this was interesting to me, because this was before Chantelle stepped up to fight Cameron. And as you can see, like I said, this is a smaller weight, right? So you see Chantelle there with just a sport bra on. She's showing her body because she's small, right? And she ain't trying to let people know that she got, she got that, she taking something to fill herself out. Now, I'm not saying she doing the illegal stuff. What I'm saying is she doing some stuff though. Okay. And that's just the industry. All athletes take some kind of supplement, some kind of, you know, what can I say? Some recovery, assisting type of help, right? And there are some that are legal, they're steroids, and there's some that are not, which are supplements, right? So there's a thin line. I can tell when you on the roids. I can, because I seen it in the industry enough, and I could tell when it's hard work and it's supplements. Okay. And so I'll tell y'all what I think real quick. So these two women, you can see that's hard work on their bodies. Hard work. But these two women are both strong, and they both can bang in there. So that's what interested me about this fight. And Obanoff is a kamikaze type of fighter. She is all or nothing. She going to win by the sword, or die by the sword. And so, like I said, she got stopped by Chantelle Cameron. I believe in the 6th round. Chantelle Cameron stopped Melissa Hernandez in the 4th round. So, and she's stopping these fighters by beating them down. Okay, she beating them. The thing about it is, with this fight here, Obanoff versus Cameron, this fight was before Obanoff fought and stopped Natasha Jonas. So this is giving you the segue into the honest possible matchup in the future between Natasha Jonas and Chantelle Cameron. That's a thing that could and should happen. That's a fight that should happen, because it can. Now, um, yeah, because Natasha Jonas is the middleweight champ. And I know Chantelle Cameron can go easily go take 147, take the 147 titles from, if the sanctioning bodies want McCaskill to keep it, she can go up there and take them from McCaskill and then move right on up to middleweight with Natasha Jonas. Chantelle Cameron is that gal that'll do it. I would want her to fight the dragon, though. I would love to see her fight the dragon, Layla McCarter. That would be a good one. Um, but yeah, uh, these broads, these crones that I've named, are women on Chantelle Cameron's hit list. She on her receipt. She's fought some some good contenders, good contenders out here. Y'all know I got my hand in the chip bag again. And while I got my hand in the chip bag, lovely assistant, can you change the slide? So there's another picture of Anaya Sanchez. This must have got thrown in at the end. But here she go. Okay. Bantamweight, you can see she ain't muscular or nothing like that. She looked like any broad that you would see on the road, but she could fight. Next slide, lovely assistant. Oh, Fistiana Fights says she's tough. I suppose you're talking about, are you talking about Vivian Obanoff? All these broads that I name are tough though, but yeah. Fistiana Fights also says, I know you can tell. Us boxing fans can guess, but y'all know the truth. And I think, like, I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair that, so that's why I'll speak on it. See, I'm not boxing anymore, so I don't have to, and I wasn't like this. I wasn't like this before, I wasn't an ass kisser. I didn't need to make any friends. I knew I could fight, which was a double-edged sword for me, because then if you don't kiss ass, that means that's that much many more enemies that you got, because women's boxing is a catty game. And the people that smile in your face will be the main people that say, oh, she ain't training. Oh, you should give her a call now. Oh, go, yeah. She set your ass up. So you gotta be careful. I guess my slide went and got jammed up. This is also Chantelle Cameron versus Anaya Sanchez. Next slide. And there's that gal at the end. So I've reached the end. Okay, this is that gal, Chantelle Cameron. I can say, well, she should be mentioned as a pound for pound contender, as one of the better pound for pound female fighters out here. She's proven it. She's made her own Skid Row, meaning that she didn't fight recycled opponents from other people, and she didn't bring in tomato cans. She got the chicken from all of these names, from all of these broads that were and are problems out here still. She bested them. She beat them without no help. She's a hard worker. You can see she's disciplined. For what I've seen her do so far, she a little, she to the point where she's probably psycho. She's a psycho. Yeah. Because you got to work hard to do what she's done. She's rallied from the weight, she's rallied from 129 pounds to now being solid 140-pound undisputed champion. That's hard work. Okay. And she stood in there with some good opposition. Um, Her I like. And I look forward to seeing where she goes with this. Um, I don't think, I mean, yeah, she handed Katie Taylor her first L, but I think Katie Taylor's first loss was um, her first fight with Delphine Persoon. So Chantelle Cameron was not the first fighter to give Katie Taylor an L, but on the books, hey, she's that gal. Lovely assistant, is there anything else? Is there any other pictures? Because I'm about to wrap it up. Finish eating my chips. All right, so there they go, and we're back at the first clip. Now, the reason why we're back at the Fisty on the Fight says a very impressive resume, and then comes in and says that's a fact. Yeah, so Chantelle Cameron has a very impressive resume. As a fighter, if I was active, I'd be, not to say that I'd still want to fight her, right? Because she ain't fought Sugar, but she would be on my radar because I like the best. I always wanted to fight the best, and I like the best, and I like her as a fighter. And I like how she puts herself out there. I like her pictures. I like, she sells women's boxing. Yeah, I think she does. I think she has more of a personality than um, Katie Taylor. I think has a better personality than Clarissa Shields. I think she shows more moxie. She has more moxie as a fighter, personality wise, than Natasha Jonas. These are names. So, I think she has a complete package, not taken away from any of the other bras that I just mentioned. I'm just saying, I like this gal, and she has she has the ingredients, and I look forward to seeing her fight the other problems that are out here and making a name for herself, um, possibly up in the higher weight divisions because she can. Um, and that's my last slide. Lovely assistant, can you make me big on the screen again so I can wish everybody a good night? Yeah, y'all. So thank you. Oh, we done went into damn near 3 hours. Let me tell y'all something about the Sugar Show. I used to try to keep it at half hour, then it went to hour, then it went to 2 hours. One time I had a 4 hour show. Just small bites, right? You ain't got to listen to it all at one time, but I think you should listen to it. Or I think you should watch me. Okay. Um, subscribe, share this sugar. Okay. Um, okay, I got a restream. See, Sugar's a cave woman. I've received 100 messages today with restream chat. Okay, I love it. Thank you. That means I was active. We was active, y'all. So thank you, Michael Orr. Okay, for chiming in as usual. Okay, who else chimed in after? Listen, thank you to Tony Issue for chiming in, and the one who stole the show with me, though, is Fistiana Fights. I had a lovely conversation with all of y'all. I thank you, Fistiana Fights, for really chiming in and having a great conversation. We agreed on some things and we disagreed on some things, but we remained, we remained here and we had lovely conversation, lovely insight. We learned from each other, and I like all of it. And that's what we do here on the Natalie Sugar Brown Show. Call me Sugar. Like I said, like, subscribe, and share this sugar. I will be uh back on the show next Wednesday night at around 7:30 or a bit later. I was meaning to drop in on Friday, and I might do so this Friday on Mike's show or with the guys on Talkin Fight. I tried because I wanted to hear what they had to say about what this fight with little Devin Haney and all of them that just passed. If that's what they talking about. Um and about this Crawford Spence fight coming up or whatever else they have to say. I just love cutting up with them boys. They're not boys. They mans, and they talk fight, and I like it. Anyway, until Fight said 2 nights in a row. Great shows here. We'll definitely see you next week. All right, boo boo. I will see you. I look forward to it. And leave a comment. Let me know what you want to talk about for the next show so I can be ready. Anyway, you guys have a great rest of your week, okay? Like, subscribe, and share. And until Wednesday, bye-bye.